Between the days when Lone Star was Lone Star, so Martin Barron in 11, and the glorious days of Nigerian football. And I wish we just returned to those glorious days. But again, let's take it down now. I'd like to say good afternoon from my end. What a warm way to welcome you to the program Spokes Insight, live here on Focal FM 105.3. This is your favorite sports magazine program highlighting the major developments from the world of sports. We are here every Wednesday from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. and, of course, every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. So coming up on today's edition of the program, we're going to highlight exclusively post-match analysis about the just ended international friendlies encounter between the Lone Star of Liberia and that of Sierra Leone on the 6th of June in the Softing Arena in Sierra Leone. Liberia fell prey to a 1-0 defeat away to Sierra Leone, and the return leg was played yesterday at the SKD Sports Complex in Pinsville, where Liberia defeated Sierra Leone 3-1. We're going to look at the matches. We analyze the matches, the players' performance, and what it is for Liberian football. So if you're just joining, I would like to say thanks for joining. Stick conversation. Let's just take a break or gist of the sun, and we'll come back. We're going to get started with the program. Say welcome to Inside Live on Focal FM 105.3. This program is your favorite sports magazine program highlighting the major developments from the world of sports. And about this hour, we are here to talk about some of the issues relating to football in Liberia. Specifically, we will be talking about the Lone Star of Liberia. The Lone Star of Liberia on yesterday concluded a two-leg international friendly fixtures against Sierra Leone, with the first leg played in Sierra Leone on the 6th of June 2026. Liberia lost 1-0 away to Sierra Leone, and yesterday the Lone Star of Liberia bounced back from her defeat to defeat Sierra Leone 3-1 at the SKD Sports Complex in Pinsville. So the two matches, we're going to be looking at two matches, talking about games. What do we make of the game? Our own impressions regarding the team performance. And later we will join Roland Bandokar. Roland Bandokar is a member of the Sports Writers Association of Liberia. He will join the conversation live to learn his thoughts regarding some of the issues to be talked about here today. So to begin with, the Liberia Football Association a month or two ago unveiled a new coach by the name of Mohamed Eradi. Mohamed Eradi, a Moroccan international who was charged with the mantle of authority to manage the affairs of football in Liberia, specifically the senior men's national team, for the next 3 years, and with a specific mandate to ensure that he can qualify Liberia for the 2027 African Cup of Nations. So new coach Mohamed Eradi era got started on the 6th of June away to Sierra Leone in Freetown. Not Freetown, but in Bo, Sierra Leone. That is at the Softing Arena. So the coach, like we said, the coach just took over the national team. That is the Star of Liberia, a newly appointed coach, having had the opportunity actually to closely follow the Liberian League. I can't speak to the fact whether he has actually been closely following Liberian players who are playing also Liberia, that is in different leagues playing across Africa and other parts of the world, because you may be aware we have a couple of Liberian players now who are playing also of Liberia in Africa, in Europe, and other parts of the world, like even in America. So the new coach took charge of the national team and shortlisted a couple of players to represent Liberia in the two international friendly fixtures. And initially, Liberia was scheduled to play Benin and Mauritania. And those matches were scheduled to play in Casablanca, Morocco. But due to some of the financial constraints or challenges confronting our national team, we couldn't hold on those two fixtures. So the coaching staff, in close consultation with the Liberia Football Association, resorted to just playing our neighboring country, yes, Sierra Leone, in the home and away fixtures to ensure that we can start the campaign of preparation as we gear towards the qualifier for the 2027 African Cup of Nations. The just ended draw that was conducted for the African Cup of Nations in 2027. Liberia was paired in a group alongside Cape Verde or Mali and that of Rwanda. So that group is for the 2027 African Cup of Nations qualifier. So, before the qualifiers start, what some of the countries can do, like we said, they can start preparation, playing some friendly matches, playing other countries to identify the strength of your team, the weakness, and how you can be able to fill in the gap. So it is the same with Liberia. So the players that were shortlisted traveled from Liberia, went to Sierra Leone, and the coach had a team that he played with or against or Sierra Leone. We will look at the starting lineup against Sierra Leone, some of the players who feature for Liberia in that lineup. And after the return leg fixture yesterday, there were some changes made in the starting lineup for Liberia. And like we said, Liberia's first ever game under new coach Mohamed Eradi was the away fixture to Sierra Leone. So some of the players, you haven't worked with them before. It was the first of its kind. You have to try players to know them, to know which one of them best suit a particular role to represent the national team. So the players away to Sierra Leone, like we said, the coach started with this lineup. Amos Wise, a young Liberian goalkeeper, I think he plays in the neutral lane. He used to play in the 4th division. His club qualified recent for the 3rd division. The coach started with Noah Kenneth, who also started in last night game. Devantier also, he started away to Sierra Leone. Kwa Sherman started away to Sierra Leone. Ayuba Kushas started away to Sierra Leone. George Wallace, he started away to Sierra Leone. Fiditanu started away to Sierra Leone. Natu Swen also started away to Sierra Leone. The captain Murphy Oscar Dole started away to Sierra Leone. And of course, we had Jamel Arago starting away to Sierra Leone. And for the substitute players away to Sierra Leone, we had the goalkeeper Ashley Williams, Junior Yenit, or Natus Aboswen, who is currently the best defender in the Liberian League. We have Sebastian Tikla starting from the bench, Suleiman Ba starting from the bench, Daniel Newman starting from the bench, Josiah Sie on the bench, Ralph Weir on the bench, Prince Mato on the bench, Michelle Green on the bench, Jibber Kone on the bench, and of course, Candace Cole. So initially, I talked about the starting lineup. That game was the first game for the newly appointed coach of the national team of Liberia, Mohamed Eradi. So the first team he drew to play against Sierra Leone, that was a perfect opportunity to see the players playing, observe them in their various positions, know how well they can perform. If there's a need for adjustment, if some of them best suits in that role, he can continue and bring in some other new players to fill in the gap. But our first game against Sierra Leone, we weren't that impressive. Matter of fact, but again, that was the first game, like I said, under a new coach. That's a new era. So sometimes it will take time for us to adjust as a country. Now, against Sierra Leone, we saw the coach, how he played. Yeah, you have Amos Wise between the goalposts, Emmanuel Fule at the back from the left wing. You had Jamel Araku and Natu Swen playing the center back. Philip Tanu, of course, playing the right back. And of course, you had you had Araku, George Wallace. So the coach played a 3-5-2 system, a 3-5-2 formation. So in that formation, you have a Fule playing more there in the back. You had a Natu Swen, Jameer Aragu, George Wallace, and of course Philip Tanu. So that was the kind of system the coach employed in the 3-5-2 system. So 3 defenders at the back. At the center, you have a 5-man Crowder or Mayfield, and 2 in the attack. So in the midfield for us, we had Captain Murphy, Oscar Dolly. We had Noah Kenneth in the midfield. And of course, Ayuba Kushad, Shemo, they were up front starting for the Lunsa of Liberia. Devantier completed the midfield starter for Liberia. Now, the game against Sierra Leone was the first game for a newly appointed coach. Players came had less time to justify, or like we say, practice, because that's not justification. You have already called the players to the team. They were just to train, to know how well they were effective to cope with. Maybe you are bringing a new system. So we went to Sierra Leone. Liberia played against Sierra Leone. We weren't that impressive. And there were some changes made in the squad to replace the goalkeeper, brought in Ashley Williams, who have a long-standing experience with the national team. Couple of other players were introduced in the game. The legs of J.B. Connor, he came in, he had his introduction. Candace Cole played for a few minutes. Prince Mator also had the opportunity to play for a few minutes. And so Albert Swen, also, he was introduced against Sierra Leone away when we traveled away. After the game, there were a lot of mixed reaction. A lot of people believe the coach, the team poorly performed. The coach did not do well. But again, like I said, it wasn't the rightful time to start to render judgment about the performance of the newly appointed coach of the Lunsa of Liberia. Just his first game against Sierra Leone, 1-0 defeat away. That wasn't really fair enough to say you want to judge the coach in terms of performance. Maybe for the players, maybe some of them who have been around, you could question them in terms of the performance because they have played for the national team on many occasions, and in that game they were impressive. What you expected of them, but coach, it's a starting point. Now we travel after the 1-0 defeat. We came back to Liberia, and also we had a day to practice. And yesterday was the return leg, which was the return fixture against Sierra Leone at home yesterday at the SKD Sports Complex in Painesville. And that game was scheduled for 6:30. So what the coach did yesterday again, which was his second game in charge, he did a lot of adjustment regarding the players. There were some changes made in the squad that started away to Sierra Leone. The goalkeeper was replaced with Jinion Yende, who plays locally for Wodogisi FC in our first division league. We also had the introduction of Sebastian Tikla, a left back. He used to play for Leska FC, but now he plays out of Liberia. Sebastian Tikla was introduced yesterday under Coach Mohamed Eradid. We also had the introduction of Candace Cole, who played in the Mayfield yesterday, replacing Captain Murphy, Oscar Dole, who was rested yesterday. And also in defense, like we said, the introduction of Sebastian Tikla, because yesterday the coach rested Josh Wally. So we played similar formation yesterday. At the back, we had Philip Town, we had Jameer Araco, and of course, Atu Swen and Emmanuel Fule. Emmanuel Fule played at the back yesterday. We also had Sebastian Tikla playing from that back too. In the midfield, you had Noah Kenneth in the midfield, Divan Tier, and of course, Candace Cole. So we also had up front, we had Ayuba Koshel and Kwashemo, who was the captain for yesterday's game. Now, on home soil yesterday, we watched the Lunsa of Liberia playing against Sierra Leone. The game started with that formation instituted, and the coaches watching from the sideline, couple of other players on the bench watching the legs of Rufus Saki, Abbas Swen, Ashley Williams, Suleiman Mba, Daniel Neiman, Josiah C.A., Ralph Weah, Prince Mator, Michelle Green, J.B. Connor, and Rufus Saki. Those were players were on the bench yesterday watching from the substitute bench. The first 15 minutes, we saw the Lunsa of Liberia poorly organized. Sierra Leone had some dominance. We saw Sierra Leone working the ball, making some attempts on goal. So the team took time. The team took time to adjust, to adapt, start to coordinate the Lunsa of Liberia. And after the first 15 minutes, they started to coordinate well. We saw the level of coordinations, the players, the composure, how well they were engaged, and the team started to make moves, taking on Sierra Leone. And the fans were there to motivating the boys as they played. And we saw the Lunsa of Liberia took the lead through Sebastian Tikla, 1-0 lead. Play continues. The Lunsa of Liberia doubled the lead through a brilliant finish from Ayuba Koshai. And it was 2-0 Liberia at the halftime break. We went to the break. We came back from the break. And the second half played all through. Again, brilliant performance from the team. And in the last minutes of the game, Filitano Sue it for Liberia, scoring the third goal before the visitor could respond with a 1-goal cancellation, ending the match 3-1 in favor of the Lone Star of Liberia. But my take on the game yesterday, like we said, we have to be very honest in our opinion. I still believe that the first two games played by Liberia, specifically against neighboring Sierra Leone, are not enough to start to render judgment regarding the performance of the current coach of the Lone Star of Liberia. This coach is taking over the national team. He needs more time with the players. Specifically, maybe we say the local players that are based in country, because sometimes when the league starts, we notice that the other players that have contracts with other clubs playing outside of Liberia, they will have to travel to go and honor their contracts. But we have a couple of local players that are on the national team. I think we need to have more time working on those players that are here with the national team, where the coach can work with them on a regular basis to ensure that they can work together as many as they can to start to understand the style of play. And sometimes now when we have the international break, the other players joining them, it will now require more work to do. But almost like when you're starting over, yes, after everything, before you say, let's start the practice sessions, let's start to do this, then it becomes a problem for us. So I believe the new coach will need more time to work with the national team of Liberia, where he will better understand the players. Yesterday again was another opportunity that he had with the team, looking at how well the team played yesterday, how some of the players were very excellent in their role yesterday. I must admit that some of the players were extremely excellent. For the defense was top-notch yesterday. The coordination from Natu Swen and Arago center defense, it was very brilliant. Filitano at the right back, yes, he played well. Emmanuel Fule from one end played very well. Sebastian Tiklatu, who was a support to the defense, also played well, scoring a goal and providing an assist. Juan Kenneth, the best performing player for Liberia yesterday in the Mayfield away to Sierra Leone, he was also excellent in that 1-0 defeat away to Sierra Leone. Kenneth is no screen to the national team. Noah Kenneth has been around for some time playing with the national team, but I've seen massive improvement in his performance. The just two friendly international matches we played against Sierra Leone. I think Kenneth Game step up. If he remains consistent like that, it will be a boost for the Lone Star of Liberia. Also in the Mayfield yesterday, the combination of Noah Kenneth, Devantier, and Candace Cole, it was a fabulous combination yesterday. The game started, like I said, the first 15 minutes, it wasn't well coordinated. But going forward, we saw Devantier known for some of those brilliant touches, his passes. They were well connected from one end of the field to another. Candace Cole, too, also his pace, his energy, he was instrumental in the center. Also, yes, had a fine game yesterday. Fans went on cheering him. A lot of people believe he should be given more time in the starting lineup for Liberia. And also in the attack by Shemo, yes, he wasn't that a bit impressive. But the game, I think yesterday, the teamwork was everything. He had some time up there fighting the defense of the opponent. And Ayuba Koshai also, too, he was in the attack, mounting more pressure and also netting a goal. I believe the team, the Lone Star of Liberia, the current team we have, with a couple of players who miss out on the international friendlies, I think we can start from somewhere if we are giving support. Because one of the major things that has been lacking over the years has been the issue about this issue about support, wherein most often national government will always complain regarding budgetary support for the players. Yes, more often the coaches will always complain regarding the players' budgetary support. So the government needs to come in and see how best they can aid in that direction. National government needs to come in and see how well they can aid in that direction. I believe when more support is given, the current generation of players we have for Liberia, trust me, these players are players that we can depend on. They can take Liberia somewhere if we have more time given to them in terms of preparation. Look at some of the players yesterday, like I said, who missed out on this game. You having a very brilliant defender like Samson Due, who was outstanding all through all the campaign. They just ended league season in Europe with Victoria Plasin. We have another promising midfielder out there, Solomon Toure. He plays in Saudi Arabia. We also have another promising midfielder, Sheikh Cisse. Sheikh Cisse plays in Botswana. He wasn't even called for that game. Imagine we didn't even call Sheikh Cisse. Peter Wilson was called. He had to be ruled out of the game due to injury. So imagine a couple of other players who missed out on the game yesterday. Even they had to rest the captain Murphy, Oscar Dole. George Wally had to rest George Wally. And other players who did not play the game. Yes, who did not play the game yesterday. Some of those players who did not play the game yesterday. Imagine if we have all of those players included. If we have all of those players included in our lineup, imagine what it is for Liberia. But all in all, it boils down to support. All in all, it boils down to support. Because I say this to mean that if we do not have the support, other countries that are making significant strides when it comes to football, some other countries, it is not by magic. Some other countries, it is not by magic that they are making strides when it comes to football. It is the investment over the years that matters. It is the investment over the years that matters. Because some of the people, they have invested hugely when it comes to football. They are invested hugely over the years. Look at other neighboring countries, and sometimes we begin to wonder. People think the countries that are making strides when it comes to football, when they are making progress, they are making magic. No, but everything boils down to support. We have a mobilization committee for the national team of Liberia or recently. The committee started work. I think they are targeting an estimated sum of $5 to $10 million that is needed to ensure that they can fully or how you call it, they can fold it actualize what they hope to achieve. So for those players that we have, like I said, we are not short of players in this country. What I saw yesterday, those players, they are of top-notch quality. They are of top-notch quality. So if we can maintain those players, I think we can make progress when it comes to football. But imagine Liberia now, the way we play the two international friendly matches, we will not play no other game again until last minute of time when we get a crucial fixture, 2-3 days to those games, then you come back. The process doesn't work like that. It requires continuous process, consistency. Yesterday, I was also discouraged, disappointed, looking at the poor turnout at the stadium yesterday. The turnout wasn't really encouraging yesterday at the SKD Sports Complex. More especially when you had a lot of free tickets that were being given out yesterday. The stadium was, most part of the stadium was extremely empty. Yes, the fans too have been discouraged over time. Just for the past 5 games we have played, it was just yesterday that the Lone Star again had to record a win. So sometimes, sports is about passion. Emotionally, people are connected. If you see your team not performing, especially up to a level that you expect, sometimes you are discouraged. Sometimes you are really discouraged. So all of those things are the reasons for which you see our people are not showing up again to support the national team. So government needs to step in with support, give the support to the coaches when the coaches are not performing. Because now, I tell anybody want to bash at the coach, you say you want to criticize the coach, I will come in defense of the new coach. Because the coach just started, you give the man, they say the man should qualify the Lone Star of Liberia for the 2027 African Cup of Nations. How is he qualifying Liberia for the African Cup of Nations? What measures are we putting in place in terms of preparation? These are things that we need to be looking at. The players that are coming to play for the Lone Star of Liberia, how well are they taken care of? When these conditions are met or addressed properly, when the coaches are not performing, now we can turn around to say we can criticize the coach. But when these things are not happening, trust me, I cannot say much. All I would say is we have to give the coach time to see how best he can adapt. But we have a very promising future when it comes to football with regards to the current generation of players that I see for our national team. All we need is the necessary support to make the dreams work. All right, so but this time we're going to join Roden Bandaka. Roden Bandaka is also a member of the Sports Writers Association. He will be here to also lend his thoughts regarding. So, Roland Bandaka, you are live on Foca FM 105.3. Roland.
Yes, Eric Collins. It's a pleasure meeting you on Foca FM 105.3.
Like I said, you are live on the radio, and specifically, I call you to weigh in on the Lone Star of Liberia, specifically the new coach who has taken charge or taken mantle of authority, and also to look at the team performances in the just ended international friendly matches. So firstly, let's look at the coach Mohamed Eradi. He was unveiled a month ago by the Liberia Football Association with a specific mandate of qualifying Liberia for the 2027 African Cup of Nations. How do you look at the coach and the mandate given to him by the footballing authority? Do you think he can deliver on that?
Eric, firstly, let me applaud Coach O'Reilly for taking his team to come and coach Liberia, because if you look at our own country, Liberia, in terms of our structure, in terms of financial support being given to the team, and how well the coaches are being paid in terms of best practice or international standard, it takes one to lead his country with his own paper as coach. It takes one to lead his country and come and accept the job to coach a national team like Liberia. So we must first applaud him for the bold step taking. And then I was opportune to be a part of that unveiling ceremony. I was also impressed by his responses in terms of his media engagement. I believe that he's good when it comes to that. And then I also had a concern in terms of how he's going to invite players to be at the national team, because that has been one of the huge criticisms over the years when it comes to players recruitment for national team. Many have criticized that they are being influenced by other. I think he's not following. He's going to do everything him on the possible with the players that he are not following to do better recruitment for them. Just the issue on.
Yeah, players. How do you look at the first set of selection?
Technically, it's not a bad selection. In terms of the department of players recruited, more especially the local players are recruited. All of those local players are recruited in the last there have been some of the best local players on our local scene. So the recruitment isn't bad. In terms of the foreign-based players that were also recruited, I think one issue that being Liberians have had in terms of the selection of Pat Sherman. I believe that Coach Iradi was looking at Pat Sherman, who experience coming to the national team. In Liberia, and Eric, let me say this. I've been a former footballer. I've been an former attacker. In Liberia, we Liberians, our way of understanding football is just completely different. Not especially when it comes to the issue of just winning mentality. Liberians have criticized Pat Sherman over the year. Yes, his primary objective is to score goal, but not scoring goal. Has he also been contributing to the team performance? Yes, if you ask him, I would say yes. Pat is a very good player. Technically, he has contributed to the team performance. So we shouldn't only look at because he's meant to score goals, but have Pat contributed in other ways. Yesterday, let's take for example yesterday Pat performance in yesterday's game.
Yeah, I don't. Overall selection of players. Firstly, we'll get to that.
Yeah, like I said, Eric, the recruitment, the players recruited. Trust me, I say I'm comfortable with them.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with them.
All right.
I will also tell you that more needs to be done. There are other players out there that needs to be given opportunity. Like somebody said, we need to give him more friendly matches.
Yes.
With this, we can see more players being selected to come to eat their own fair share of the cake and see how better they can be maintained.
All right, so bringing on a new coach and with a specific mandate, talking about ensuring that you can qualify a team for an African Cup of Nations. He hasn't been around before coaching our team, having had the opportunity to watch our league, maybe our international players. Like you said, require time is a process where you have to work with players to develop a team. How do you see that mandate from the part of the FA or the authorities of football? Do you think they are being honest with the coach, just taking over and giving a direct mandate saying you have to qualify the team for the African Cup of Nations?
Eric, speaking, I am a coach, I am a former footballer, I am a journalist. Everyone who takes over a job have a specific mandate to execute. I believe the Liberia Football Association or national government mandate to qualify, asking Coach Aradi to qualify for the 2027 AFCON. It's a decision taking. Liberians have yielded for international or continental football since we last played. It's been almost 20 some years since we last played continental football. So the decision from the government to ask Coach Aradi to qualify for the 2027 AFCON, I support that decision. But there is my concern, Eric. There is my concern. Are we willing to support this project? Are we willing to support this project? And fully speaking, I've interviewed few Liberians, and they are allergic. They hope we can see quality football. They hope that we can see quality football based on the best recruitment. They hope they can see quality football based on the necessary support given to the team. So my response to this is, yes, I support the request by the Liberia Football Association and national government for 2027 AFCON Cup of Nations. But my concern is, are we willing to support this project?
Yes, that's a question. I too initially I said that on the radio because all boils down to support. Just days ago, we couldn't honor two international friendly fixtures against Mauritania and Benin due to lack of support. So it's a major issue that needs to be looked at.
And then Eric, it boils down to my imagination. We have been around football for a couple of years now. We have seen what it takes to get supported internationally.
Definitely.
I've been a media manager for one of the best clubs in the defending champions of Liberian football, Watanga. I know how costly it has been for clubs to sponsor their teams in playing intercontinental football, continental football. And I listened to the mobilization committee chairperson, Reverend Luther Tapper, speaking at the legislature on raising a sum of 5.5 to 10 million plus, like United States to sponsor the national team. Fairly speaking, let me be very frank with you. I don't know how you came up with that budget analysis. I don't really know how he came up with the budget analysis, because he did not only limit the sponsorship to our men's national team. He was speaking of both the women's national team and that of the men's national team, winning from U17 up to senior national team level. I'll be very clear with you. I'm not a good budget specialist, but looking at things from the football perspective, I believe that Reverend Luther Tapper, I don't know whether you are speaking just from a political standpoint, or you are speaking from a fair sporting background in terms of budget support. If you are speaking from a standpoint of budget, with the target of project, with the target to qualify for 2027 AFCON, I think that amount is very small. So he needs to go back. He needs to go back to the drawing board. If he's speaking of the $5 to $10 million to sponsor all of our national teams, and national team.
Yes, we Roden, are you there? Roden? Hello.
I'm there.
Okay, yeah, Roland. So, like you said, we have to get a clarity on that because he was appointed as mobilization chair for the national team. We'll have to get a clarity regarding whether it is just for our 2027 AFCON qualifier campaign or it caught across. Like you said, if it caught across, then I think it doesn't reach the expectation. We have to go back to the drawing table. But if it is only for the 2027 AFCON, I think it is something that we can work in. Ready?
Yeah, if this amount is limited, restricted to the 2027 AFCON project, then I feel it's fair enough. It's something worth supporting. But if you're speaking about all our national teams, the 5 to 10 billion million, I think it's very small. But you know how many money is being spent on data to bypass to get on other things? We are hearing about this corruption, we are hearing about that corruption. Then you talking about national teams. You're talking about national teams. I listened to that recording. I don't know whether you are limited as a national team. But how you adding S teams, national teams. You talking about look at the South Africa national team. Eric Collins, look at the South Africa national team. Every game, you're talking about 100,000.
Definitely.
Look at then somebody will say, why will you compare the economy of South Africa and the economy of Ghana, the economy of Liberia? No. If you're talking about having a project to qualify to the AFCON, football has taken another train around the world. Football has taken another train around the world.
Definitely.
Football is nothing of joke.
Sure.
Football is nothing of joke.
So that needs to be looked at critically. Like you said, I want to agree with you on that. We share similar view that if it is only for the 2027 AFCON qualifier project, I think it is okay. But if it cut across for all of the national teams, then we have to go back to the drawing table. But Roland, let's move to the era on the newly appointed coach of the national team, Mohamed Eradi. He started his campaign officially on June 6th away to Sierra Leone and the return leg yesterday at the SKD Sports Complex. Again, follow up on 2 matches. Can you just quickly, a summary, talk about the team's performances in the 2 matches? The away fixture away to Sierra Leone, the game, and yesterday at home against Sierra Leone. What's your overall impression of the team in terms of performance, maybe with specific emphasis on some of the players?
Firstly, let me applaud Coach Eradi in terms of his short term appointment, in terms of the recruitment. I don't know whether he was facilitated, whether there was a look given to him to announce players, or like his response during his unveiling ceremony where he said he been following players, whether he independently recruited these players. But if he did independently recruited these players, then I gave him a thumbs up. His recruitment wasn't bad for the first 2 international friendlies. We have identified some of the errors. But firstly, on the rating in terms of the 2-game performance from 1 to 10 or 100%, I gave him 75. I gave him 75. Yes, I gave him 75. One reason for which I gave him 75 or I gave him 75 is because Sierra Leone, in terms of our football rating, in recent Sierra Leone are taking a big step ahead of us, but we are a bit fighting football development crisis. Liberia and Sierra Leone are fighting football development crisis. We are at the same path in terms of football development. But in terms of performance rating, Sierra Leone is ahead, like I said, FIFA CAF rating. But we need to play competitive friendly matches to identify more errors before our qualifiers games. We could play neighboring Guinea. We could play neighboring Guinea. Guinea, in terms of quality players, Guinea have top-rated players in top-rated European leagues. In terms of performance, they have been the recent AFCON. So these are teams we should be thinking about playing. Africa, we can look for Ghana. We can look for somebody in neighboring country. if we're looking at, since the financial burden is very low for some of the neighboring West African countries that are at a very top level and play friendly matches, to know, to identify our real mistakes, For instance of the performance, wasn't bad. Let us move into the various departments of the field of play. Quickly,
I think
the goalkeeping department.
Yes.
The goalkeeping department. I think for on a fair share, I think Tommy needs to be recorded into the team for experience. He needs to be around still. We still need him into the team.
Okay.
I'm not taking a starting role, but I think he needs to be on the team. I can give you an example. There are the other top countries, European countries. Brazil is carrying Neymar to the World Cup. They're not carrying to the World Cup because he's in better form than any other Brazilian player. The legs of Pedro that plays for Chelsea is in better form than Neymar. But one reason Brazil is carrying Neymar to the World Cup is because of experience. He's a major boost for the squad because of experience. There are other countries that could need. But moving from the department, the goalkeeping department, they weren't bad. Those goalkeepers have been recruited, the performance wasn't bad. They just need, like I said, Tommy needs to be around to boost up the pressure onto the young lads. Moving to the defense component of the team. One place I've seen error so far is into our left back position. Though the system got converted Emmanuel Foley into a back three formations, but I think we can wholly rely on looking at yesterday's game. Sebastian Tikla was very exceptional in terms of his creativity. Leading from Mayfield to attack was very good. But defensively, there was a bit of error. He still got composure, but the decision so far. I don't know if that will be a continued so I think that is something we need to look into. That would be a better option to push somebody out of wing that position, maybe bring back Nelson Lowry into the team. But like we said, maybe they just push right first, 2 players, maybe Nelson could get a recall back to the team. And then looking at yesterday, and from the team, is our best player to the team from Rabi's first 2 games. Noah Kane ability to compose our center, connecting the defense from Mayfield to attack. Noah Kane was absolutely the man of the match for Rabi's first 2 legs. And the Mayfield combination, it wasn't bad. But I think the wonder kid, Divan Kane, need to increase the space because there are other young midfielders who are having a high expectation of getting into the national team starting on. So you saw yesterday the captain was undressed. He did not play, but the player of the center wasn't bad. But I think Divantia needs to step up. Kane's performance was actually super. Even Jabe Kane had not been bad. And you also have players out there who still wanting to get back into the midfield, wanting to get back into the team.
Sure. So
I think Divantia needs to step up. If you want to continue being to Eradi's team, you need to increase your pace. Yesterday, the West Side defense was good. The player and center defenders in the back three formation was bad, and something to did not have a fair share. Playing body, there are other legs who did not got included in the team. Isn't bad, but I think the team yesterday, analytically speaking, in the department, these are the errors that are found out. And then into attack, I think Eradi's need to recall more dangerous wingers. We played a wing back formation yesterday. Eradi's needs to identify dangerous wingers. Brian Fakula, all the guys need to come back. Mohamed Kamara needs to come back to the team. We need to have more dangerous wingers. We need to have more dangerous wingers. But yesterday, the partnership with the 2 attackers were absolutely great. Tash Shema pulled up next in line in terms of performance yesterday. Tash Shema was another man of the match.
Okay.
I saw one aspect of the game where Pashemon carelessly lost the ball. He turned the ball over. He was not deterred. He put a great recovery process. He won the ball, restart the play. that's the kind of zest we want to see in players coming down to play for national team. Yesterday, Pa Sherman showed that leadership, and I think that's one of the reasons he was called up by Coach Eradi. So I think the team on the 75% rating wasn't bad, but there still more need to be done.
All right, so Roland, yesterday, the stadium yesterday, there were parts of the field that were completely empty. Some of those gates, we never had spectators there. Other places, despite there were free tickets being shared all over the place. The poor turnout of fans yesterday at the game. What do you make of that? Especially the Lone Star of Liberia, we know supporters for many years. It has been discouraging. It has been disappointing. And yesterday we expected to have had a very huge turnout, but I saw a portion of the field being extremely empty yesterday. Is it that the citizens are fed up? Was it a sign of protest?
There are major factors leading to that. I want you to take me on record, Eric. There are many factors leading to the poor attendance at the Samarkand Sports Complex. Yeah. If you want to do a news story on this, you can quote me. There are many factors, and one of the factors lead to what? Security. I want you to take this down. One of the factors, most especially games being played at that hour or on such day, it leads to security. But brother, let me be very real with you. We go for national county sports league coverage. As soon as the game ends, in less than 20-25 minutes, they people rushing to cut off the lights. So if you live in Newport, you live in Broadway, and you cannot watch a game at 6 o'clock or 6:30, the game will be finished. And after the game, maybe the anxiety, you want to interact with people, and then the people are rushing to cut off the lights at SKD, the whole place gets dark, you have your materials on you, you be worrying how to go home. Because of some of the factors, because of the security factors, people don't want to take the risk to come watch game at night hours. The country is dark. Leading from SKD to Iadege Junction, the place is dark. Leading from SKD to SD Cooper Road Junction, the place is dark. Leading from SKD to Korea Junction, the place is dark. Will you want to reach yourself? With the security property situation in our country?
No.
That is one major factor. So games being arranged or being scheduled at that time is a threat to our citizens. So the government and the Liberia Football Association needs to take that into consideration. If we need to have attendance and security into consideration, we need to provide light for the Samarkand Sports leading to SKD Rehab, SC Cooper Road Junction, and electrify. Even the solar lights. Put it there. And costly to keep the generator on to run the power at SKD. Your solar lights.
Lots of people also believe too there have been poor publicity regarding national teams playing. You will be touring the screen.
That's where I'm grabbing to.
Okay.
That's where I'm grabbing to. The Liberia, in Liberia, I learned the former youth and sports minister stating one time that County Me has its own publicity. Eric, I've been a victim of covering the national county meet.
I'm aware.
I've been paid. Or sent $5 were not spent on me for medical compensation. My parents, myself, one or two friends came to my aid. But the minister stated that National County Sports Meet had its own publicity. The Liberia Football Association, the national government, need to budget something for the Sports Federal Association of Liberia in terms of media publicity. Liberia Football Association cannot depend on its own media team to provide sufficient publicity.
Definitely.
They need to support. So I think that's one of the major factors leading to the empty stadium.
Okay, so Roland, let's see whether we can get the public participation while you hold on the line. We can then take a few calls before we wrap up on the program. Again, you're listening to Sports Insight live on Foca FM 105.3. To participate on the program, you can dial 0770 131318, 0770-131318, or 0886-272620. We are talking about the South Liberia national team under newly appointed coach Mohamed Eradi. Quite recently, we played 2 friendly matches away to Sierra Leone and at home. All right, so we have our first caller on the line. Let's take this call. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. How you doing?
Yes, I'm good. Name, where are you joining from?
Thomas Dixon calling you from Brazil.
I guess you've been following the conversation. Go ahead and make your point.
Yeah, I would like to appreciate the new coach for his job he did yesterday and the win. But we need to do more. Yeah, to be real, we need to do more.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. 0770-131-318, 0770-131-318, or 0886-272620. We have another call. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Your name and where you joining us from?
Yeah, my name is Daniel Blair Joy from Pajivaji.
Okay, go ahead and make your point.
Thank you for the show this afternoon. My name is Paul, the coach, the green. What will we come for? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I don't know what happened.
Okay. 0770-131-318, 0770-131-318, 0886-272620. We are talking about the Lone Star of Liberia under newly appointed coach Mohamed Eradi. He started his campaign with 2 international friendly matches away to Sierra Leone and at home to Sierra Leone. Liberia lost 1-0 away to Sierra Leone on Saturday. A return leg against Sierra Leone yesterday at SKD. Liberia defeated Sierra Leone 3-1. What do you make of the team's performances in the 2 international friendly matches? Or what do you make of the coach selection of players to represent the national team of Liberia so far? And what are the prospects going forward? So again, you can call 0770-131-318 to participate on the program Spokes Inside live on Foca FM 105.3. So while we are waiting your calls again, let's reconnect with Roland. Roland, I guess you are there. So, wow. Sorry, we lost Roland. We just lost Roland. Let's see whether we can reconnect. 0770-131-318 is the number to call and participate on the program Spokes Inside live here on Foca FM 105.3. We're talking about the Lone Star of Liberia. Yesterday, the friendly match against Sierra Leone. Liberia defeated Sierra Leone 3-1. A lot of fans or the citizens were happy, jubilating. On Saturday, we lost 1-0 to Sierra Leone. And the new coach has started his campaign. Liberia has been paired in a group alongside Cape Verde, Mali, and of course, Rwanda for the 2027 African Cup of Nations qualifier. All right, so let's see whether we can read with Roland. Okay, yeah, Roland, I guess you still there.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, so going forward now, in terms of recommendations, if you were asked to offer some of those recommendations going forward for the betterment of the national team, what would be some of your recommendations?
I think we need to set up a technical scouting committee. We need to set up a technical scouting committee to recruit the best breed of players out there and to select the best young players and performing players in our local league. You know, you definitely incorporate, even if there are 4 or 5 local players, even a great Brazilian national team, they recruit local players to the league standard, or you call them local because they are playing home. So they still recruit them into the national team. Despite Brazil having millions of players playing across the world. That technical committee, recruitment committee, will ensure that some of the best breed of local players be selected to the national team. My brother, it's frustrating. Why will you select player, local player. Watanga FC just won the league. Lamia Warrior just won the Orange Cup. You can tell me one or two players from the team never had an exceptional season to be called to the national team. It's frustrating. It demotivates players. It demotivates the players playing at the local scene. For me, I'll be very real with you. Those local lads that were called to the team, they are all good players. They are performing the last 2-3 seasons. Albert Swain, the left of Michel Green, they are very good. Can you tell me no player from Watanga team deserve a call at local team level? No. Can you tell me that nobody at Blackman Warrior deserves a call at the local team? I would say no. They deserve it. They had an exceptional great season. So I believe one of my recommendations is to set up a technical recruitment committee to recruit folk that will scout players both international level and at the local level. That's one of my recommendations. And then the next recommendation in terms of attendance that will help support the attendance at the field, the security that talks about the lighting, the electrification of the environment, and providing sufficient security at the stadium venue. These are some of my recommendations. And the next and final one will be a huge financial support to the national team, or very huge financial support to the national team. Or I might say the last but not the least is to have all hands on decks. They should bring politics to our national team. Former government officials, current officials, people who are football stakeholders, people who can contribute to football, people who can contribute to sports need to context. We need to get to the adapting their rules.
All right. So lastly, Rory, I would like to ask you, you saw the pairing for the 2027 AFCON qualifiers. Liberia is in a group alongside Cape Verde, Mali, and that of Rwanda. What's your take on that group? What's the fate of Liberia?
Nobody should say it's an easy choice of zone. In terms of our team's rating, Cape Verde have been doing extremely well. They are into the World Cup. They're well about, right?
Sure.
Cape Verde have been doing extremely well in football. The football development is taking another trend. The likes of Mali. Mali is one of the best teams in Africa. They are putting out so many great talents around the world. There's a top zone. I think our listeners zone might be Rwanda in terms of our expectation. Our expectation, not football expectation. Expectation that good team. So it's a very tough zone. So I believe what Liberia could do for themselves, what we could do by ourselves, is to make try to have a draw out there with Mali and have a draw with Cape Verde. But it's a tough game. Our recent record with Cape Verde and not a good one. Matches, and then with the new regulations of qualification for teams, I believe they will make use of our own matches. We will automatically seal a qualification to the AFCON 2027.
Okay, Roland, we appreciate the time having you on the platform. Actually, it was great and rewarding having you here to talk about issues relating to football in Liberia. And we look forward to having more of these kind of engagements on the platform regularly.
Yeah, I do appreciate the website similar local for joining. Thank you.
All right, so you just listened to Roden Bandaka also joining the conversation live by means of WhatsApp, learning his thoughts on some of the issues relating to football in Liberia. Like we said, we've been talking about the national team, the Lone Star of Liberia. 2 friendly matches against Sierra Leone. We lost 1-0 away. And of course, yesterday at the SKD Sports Complex, Liberia defeated Sierra Leone 3-1. We have a new head coach, Mohamed Eradi, a Moroccan, charged with the mandate to ensure that he can qualify Liberia for the 2027 African Cup of Nations. Liberia has been paired in a group alongside Cape Verde, Mali, and of course, Rwanda. 0770-133-1318 if you want to call and participate. 0770-133-1318. 1318 or 0886-272620 are the numbers to call and participate. I think we are far pressed with time again. If we cannot have another call coming in, I think this is how we. Oh, let's just squeeze the one in quickly. Good afternoon.
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. Your name and where you joining us from?
I'm Tyree Johnson, calling from my background.
Okay, go ahead and make your point.
First, I was just thank you to the Nigerian team yesterday. They did extremely well. Beating Salon in Liberia is not so strange. We are in the polar or strong defense, more especially in Africa. The defense that we are in the work on. We are good, maybe only the defense and the attack in the work on media. But to the attendance yesterday, yesterday it was on working day, now weekend. So yesterday all of those smart are coming from work already. So there was no time to join on the field. So I think next time we do better.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, so that's all we have for this on today's edition of the program Spokes Inside, live on FM 105.3. Nearly an hour plus, we've been talking about the latest developments from the world of sports, specifically talking about football in Liberia, our own nation's pride, that is the Lone Star of Liberia, the national team, as we gear towards the 2027 African Cup of Nations qualifier under new coach Mohamed El-Radi. We'd like to say congratulations again to the boys for a well-deserved victory yesterday against Sierra Leone, and we look forward to more support from national government for the betterment of our national team. I have been your host, Eric Palu Collins, and I would like to say Sports Inside return over the weekend on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. Until then, stick around, don't touch the dial. Keep listening to Foca FM 105.3.